My guest at this time is an MLW star, and he is a member of the Dynasty. It's Gino Medina. Gino, thank you very much for taking the time to chat with me today.
Yeah, man, of course. Appreciate you having me on.
No problem, man. You're actually, believe it or not, the last member of the Dynasty that I have yet to interview. So this completes my Dynasty interview cycle.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. That's pretty funny. Did you have MJF on here as well, or no?
I did. I interviewed MJF when he was still part of the Dynasty, and I got some other questions I have about you because you have a very interesting life and story. But how is it for you, man? Not because you're not taking MJF's spot, you're not filling in his spot. You've created a new role for yourself within the Dynasty. But what is it like to have to come in the wake of a guy like MJF and be a part of a group like the Dynasty?
Well, it's kind of funny because, I do get the whole, like, a lot of people think that I am here to, take a spot or, fill in that void, but it's not what it is, I feel like I'm here to make my own spot, I would say, Everybody's always trying to be the next, Eddie, Shawn Michaels, and this guy and that guy. For me, I'm just trying to be the next, man.
Yeah, man, and it's crazy because, because I've never met you. This is the first time we've chatted, but, I've heard you compared to Andrade. I've heard you compared to Eddie Guerrero. And these are for people that I really respect. I mean, do you feel there's a lot more pressure on you, especially since you're like a generational talent?
Well, I've actually, like yesterday, I was talking to someone about this. I'm like, I'm kind of like sick of like that guy's Mexican. Oh, let's compare him with Eddie Guerrero, or that guy's Mexican. Let's compare him with Rey Mysterio, I just feel like just having that, comparing us kind of just, I feel like it puts us in a little like bubble,
Sure.
where we can be a lot more than that, So, because like they're even comparing like Garza right now to Eddie Guerrero, but I just feel like nobody can be Eddie Guerrero, There was only one Eddie Guerrero, and I feel like it's gonna be like that for a while, Hopefully Garza can, make his own path and, maybe be better than Eddie Guerrero. Maybe I can do that as well, Same for Andrade, same for, Kalisto and all these other Hispanic wrestlers that are there right now.
Yeah.
Or all over the place, yeah.
Well, and it's for you when the name Eddie Guerrero gets brought up, I think it's interesting, especially since I started doing some research into you. You come from a legendary family, right? Eddie Guerrero had work together. Talk to the fans out there that may not know your backstory as well. Talk a little bit about your family and your pedigree, man.
Yeah, so my dad used to be a wrestler back in Mexico. He was in AAA, CMLL, all the big companies up there. Of course, he wrestled Eddie Guerrero a lot. He teamed up with Eddie Guerrero a lot. He wrestled Mysterio, Jericho, all those guys that were kind of making those waves around that time. So he got to wrestle a lot of those, Conan. But yeah, he used to go as El Sanguinario and Máscara Maligna down in AAA. So basically, I grew up in the wrestling business. I was just a baby, and I was in the locker room. So I had wrestlers, taking care of me during while my dad was wrestling and whatnot. So it was always cool, just growing up in that and just being a kid and being mesmerized by all these guys, with cool masks and cool capes and all this, and just you grow up watching superheroes and whatnot, but growing up and seeing these guys, in person was just kind of very surreal growing up, And then from that, of course, my dad passed away when I was around 7.
Yeah.
So from that, I kind of just wanted to continue that legacy that he kind of left, So that's what I've been trying to do ever since. At 14, I started training, so I was super young. I'm 24 now, so technically I've been in the business for 10 years now. But yeah, man, it's been a long road between all this stuff that's been going on, through my whole career. I've gone from lucha to American style, going to Booker T, getting trained by Booker T, but also knowing my lucha libre, roots. It's kind of cool having, those two kind of fall back on.
Yeah, man. Well, we'll get to other, the training and all that. One thing that stood out to me, though, when I was reading your MLW bio, I believe is where I found this. Were you a 6-year-old mini? Did you wrestle when you were 6 years old? Can you talk to me about this and the decision that went into it? Yeah.
So yeah, I had a small exhibition match when I was 6, at a random show. But yeah, at that time it was just kind of they kind of just asked me hey, would you be cool with like, you know, doing the match sometimes? So I'm like, yeah, like I'll do it. But it was just like a quick, like, you know, 5-minute, you know, match in front of like a whole like arena packed of like, you know, crazy fans just going crazy for like AAA and whatnot. But yeah, it was like very, very random. I guess technically it was a match, but you know, it was more of exhibition and whatnot. But you know, I shouldn't downplay that, right? Because it's still pretty cool.
Dude, that's crazy, man. 6. I love how they also asked a 6-year-old like an adult question, like, "Hey, 6-year-old, would you be willing to wrestle?" Sometimes, like, yeah, of course, I'm 6. I want to know real quickly: were you wrestling like another 6-year-old, or were you wrestling like an adult?
So I was basically in there with an adult. You know, he was kind of like, you know, leading me through the whole thing. You know, like I said, it wasn't technically. I mean, technically it was a match, but it wasn't like a, you know, us fighting to, you know, win or whatnot. It was more of me like rolling around and doing like cool moves and whatnot. It's kind of like, have you ever seen that? Have you ever seen that kid on the like that video of that kid on the like random streets of Mexico? He's like, this guy's like facing him and he's like flipping around.
Yeah.
That was basically me. That was basically me, but at a show.
Okay, so like, how do you train a 6-year-old to wrestle? Like, most 6-year-olds can barely like, you know, do anything. Like, how do you train a 6-year-old to wrestle?
So like I said, I grew up in it, man. So I've basically been out in my whole life. So have you ever been to a lucha libre show?
I have, man. Yeah, of course.
Okay, so have you seen what happens between matches? Like all the kids just run to the ring and they just get in there and start like going crazy.
Sure.
So that was basically me at AAA shows. You know, I would go to the ring and I'll just get in there and like do stuff and whatnot. Before every match, I was in the ring, you know, rolling around and like doing all this stuff while kids were like playing around with each other. I was actually like rolling and stuff and whatnot and like trying to do stuff. You know, of course, no kid back in the day could like, you know, do like hurt grounds with me and whatnot. But I had a friend that was my dad's friend that would kind of take care of me while he was wrestling. So he would like kind of help me out. You know, I was out there doing suicide dives. He was catching me and stuff like that. Yeah. So it's been pretty fun, man.
Wow, that's crazy. I think at 6, I was like into dinosaurs or something. I'm not really sure what 6-year-old Nick did. So for you, you know, that's kind of an interesting subject for me too. Is like, do you think that kids should be allowed to just train to wrestle? Like, I've heard the argument made that, like, you know, if kids can do football and basketball, why can't, if they want to be a wrestler, take wrestling training classes? Do you think that that should be on the same level?
You know, the only I guess the only con to me starting so young, I feel like I'm 24 right now.
Yeah.
And my body's beat up, and like my back hurts all the time, and then like my knees are like a little Yankee sometimes and whatnot. So I would say that would be the only thing. I feel like you know, the regular child and whatnot should be able to grow up and actually, you know, have their body fully developed and then get in there.
Yeah. Okay.
But it's also cool to, you know, to kind of share these stories and be like, yeah, I was wrestling at 6 years old. You know?
I read that, and like, I'm glad we went down the rabbit hole and you were down to talk about it, because I was like, what is happening here? There's a 6-year-old wrestling under a hood, is like wrestling another mini, I'm guessing. That's why.
Yeah. But I mean, Rey Mysterio basically did the same thing. You know, he was out there at like 10. He was like 10, and he was in there training and whatnot. Same thing with like Tyson Kidd, I believe. Tyson Kidd and David Boy Smith, actually.
Okay.
I heard they did like a exhibition match as well, like before a WWE show or something like that. From what I can remember, back in the day when Brett was still there,
Sure.
they just gave him a chance to go out there and like wrestle, and I always thought that was pretty cool.
Well, I think the Hearts are born knowing how to wrestle. I mean, like, it's chain wrestling's in their literal blood, I think.
Right.
So with you though, what was it like to train with Booker T? I thought that was really interesting. I know that you did a lot of work down there with him.
Yeah. So basically, I started, you know, back in Mexico, you know, with my lucha libre roots. I started training in Texas as well, lucha libre as well. So one of my dad's friends, I kind of linked up with him down here in Texas, and he kind of started training me. He kind of was like, hey, like, I heard you wanted to wrestle, and I'm like, yeah, like that's all I've been wanting to do, so, you know, since I was, you know, a kid, and like actually wrestling. I just had an exhibition match, and yeah, I kind of just kicked off from there. I used to wrestle under a hood for a good while, probably for like two years. I wrestled under the hood. So eventually, Booker T was looking for a luchador, right?
Okay.
And since one of the guys there at Booker's knew about me and knew how interested I was in like not lucha libre but just wrestling as a whole, he was like, "Hey, there's this kid here that wants to get into American style wrestling as well." And so basically, they called me and they were like, "Hey, can you wrestle tonight or whatever?" I was like, "Yeah, of course. Booker T wants me to wrestle, of course." So I go to the show, I wrestle, and I think Booker kind of just gives me a little feedback or whatever. But he's like, "You should come back." He's like, "How old are you?" And I'm like, how old was I at the time? I lied to him, actually. I told him I was 17, but but I was 16, actually. I think I was like 16.
Okay.
And so I was like, if I tell him I'm 17, he'll probably, let me slide. If I tell him I'm 16, he's not gonna let it happen. So I was like, yeah, I'm 17, Book. And he's like, okay, all right, kid, come to the gym on Monday. I show up to the gym on Monday. He talks to me again or whatever, and he's like, all right, I'm gonna give you a chance, but you got to take that mask off. And I was like, I'm like, all right, cool. I didn't feel too comfortable yet, doing that. But he was like, you're a good looking kid, you gotta take that mask off. And I was like, all right, cool. And that's where I guess the whole Latin heartthrob came about,
Okay.
I was like, oh, okay. He kind of gave me that boost, like, hey, kid, like, take that mask out, you'll make some money without that. But yeah, Booker's been very supportive ever since. He legit told me, I've actually never talked about this, but he legit told me on the first day, he was like, hey, kid, when you're about 21, I'm gonna get you a tryout. And I was like, okay, cool. And I turned 21, and he got me a tryout, and I went out there, killed it. Yeah, like, I just thought it was very cool that he kind of said that back then, and
Yeah.
he gave it to me. He gave me that chance to kind of like to see what it was about, to like go out there and contest my skills, and like even for me, like being 16 and being like, oh, Booker thinks I'm like good enough for him to give me a trial. So that's pretty cool. And ever since then, like, I just pushed myself enough so I can like get that trial, so I didn't want to slack off and then turn 21 and I'm just like fat and lazy, so I was like, okay, I gotta turn 21 and I gotta be in the best shape that I can, physically and mentally, and of course in the ring as well.
Yeah, man. And so why didn't you say you killed it at the WWE tryout? Why didn't you wind up there?
So a couple of stuff happened. Like, I went there, it was kind of like I don't know how to say this in a nice way, but they play with you a lot, man. They're like, yeah, we like you, but we can't say yes or no right now. And like, it was just a whole that, it was a lot of that.
Okay.
And I was like, huh. But to me, I think I don't know. Like, I feel like if I say this, I sound like I don't want to be like, yeah, they didn't sign me, so I gotta say something cool, But to me, it was always like, I want to be there. I want to go over there at 21 and kind of test my skills there with them. I kind of want to know what they think of me.
Yeah.
And all I got was positive feedback. They were like, oh, like, you had one of the best matches of the tryout and whatnot. And I was like, okay, this is pretty cool.
Yeah.
They're saying that, and Booker T loves you. He recommended you very highly, and I was like, okay, cool. But like I said, unfortunately, it didn't happen. But it's not too unfortunate because I feel like I was 21, 21, 22.
Yeah.
I feel like I was too young, man. I feel like if I was there right now, I'll be chilling at the performance center, not doing anything. So I rather like kind of just go out and like do what I'm doing right now. I'm with MLW now, so like that's been a lot of fun. Just going out there and kind of like I feel like if I ever do make it there, AEW, New Japan or whatever, I feel like I want to be ready for those opportunities. I feel like right now I'm still right now I feel pretty confident, but back in the day I feel like I was still finding myself in a way. I mean, I was still trying to find that who I really was, and I feel like now I got it pretty figured out. But hell, I'll stay with MLW as much as I can, man. And I'm sure, we got Hammerstone there, Holiday and whatnot. And I feel like we got a good group of guys that I feel like we can make MLW, as big as WWE, as big as AEW, and I feel like we can compete with them because we got a great roster. Like I said, we got Holiday, we got Hammerstone, we got Fatu, we got a bunch of guys there, man, that I feel that can compete with like a lot of the top companies that, they're, top companies, because I feel like we're just as good. I watch Impact and Ring of Honor and all these other companies, and I'm like, MLW keeps up with all these guys, can keep up with any of the, I feel like our roster can compete with any other roster out there.
Yeah, I agree with that. I was just talking to Tom Lawler earlier today. That guy's a great talent. I was happy for you guys to re-sign to there for multiple years, and it's not just the talent. I think you guys have got good management too. I think Court's a great guy. I mean, for you, I mean, Gino, what ultimately led to you deciding to come to MLW? What was it like for you to make that decision?
It was a pretty cool opportunity. I felt like, because like I said, I feel like I said, I'm still pretty young. I'm 20. I'm 24. I just turned 24 in January. So I feel like MLW is nice. Like I don't want to sound like dumb and like ignorant, saying like, oh, I thought I had it all figured out. But at some point, I did thought, I was like, oh yeah, like I know wrestling, But then I get to MLW, and I'm like, oh, I don't know anything. There's still a lot that I gotta learn.
Yeah.
And plus, you got people like Tom Lawler there. You got Holiday, Hammerstone, Fatu, all these guys that I feel that can only make me better.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of like I feel like every company that I've been to, I feel like I've gotten in there and I've seen these guys are better than me, and what I've done, I've worked hard enough where I've gotten just as good as them and even better. So I feel like I can do that at MLW. So I got there and I saw this all this talent they had there, and I feel like I can keep up with them, and I also feel like I can be a lot better than them.
Well, it's interesting. I was again looking into you, and you brought up Conan earlier. Conan is of course an agent for MLW. What's your relationship like with Conan? I mean, he's had a hand in a lot of people's careers. Has he been influential in helping you shape your career so far?
Yeah, he's helped me out a lot. He he helped me out as I was getting to MLW. He helped me out with getting the opportunities and kind of helping me kind of step foot into MLW, kind of showing me the ropes around there, and I thought it was pretty cool. But of course, I had to beat him up after that, though.
I saw that.
Yeah, right.
I was there for that. Yeah.
Oh, you were there?
I think that was Dallas, right? Wasn't it?
No, that was in New York.
Oh, that's in New York. I wasn't in New York. No, you.
But you know what?
Yeah.
But you know what? I think I beat him up in Dallas as well.
Because you were doing. It was like the whatever gimmick at the top of the ramp with you and Holiday.
Yeah. I remember that.
Yeah.
But yeah, Konnan has been great. He knew my dad back in the day. He was in a faction with them, with Eddie and Love Machine, and they kind of took over AAA for a while. So I think it's pretty cool that he still kind of remembers all of those days back then, and kind of like still down to help me, kind of like learn the ropes at MLW.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. Well, yeah. I'll wrap it up here, Gino, and I'd love to catch up with you again here once things get going again, and we can talk about what you're actually doing, because everything's in like a state of frozenness right now. But when we get back to going here, Gino, what are your main goals in MLW? What do you want to accomplish?
So of course, like I said, everywhere that I've gone to, I've gotten there and I've seen all these guys that are better than me, and I've gotten better than them. And by that I mean that I've beaten them. I've got all the championships, like every company that I've gone to. I'm a 3-time reality wrestling champion down in Booker T's promotion. I'm the only 3-time reality wrestling there. Right now, I hold championships all over the states. I'm the Smash Mouth Boulder Woods champion. I'm the VCW heavyweight champion. I'm the Lucha Brutal tag team champion. I'm the there's another one. There's another one there. Where's the other one from? I don't remember. I got like 4 or 5 championships, but that's what I want, man. I like to call myself El Intocable, and I also like to call myself El Campeón, which basically means I'm the champion, which basically means I'm looking for some gold, man. And that's what I'm going to do here on MLW. I don't care who it is, man. Maybe it'll be Hammerstone that I'll go after.
Whoa.
Maybe it'll be, hey, man.
Whoa.
Hey, man.
Whoa.
Hey, man. I want some gold. I like friends, man, but I also like money, brother. So
be careful.
whatever makes me the most money, man, I'm gonna go after. You know, hey, maybe it'll be Myron Reed that I'll go after. You know, you don't know. Maybe I'll go after both of them, and you know, maybe Fatu as well. But yeah, man, that's my main goal. Basically, take over MLW and show that I can keep up with them. Show that I can. You know, there's a reason why I've, you know, basically conquered all over Texas. Why I'm one of the best guys here in Texas. Why I'm one of the best guys from all over the country. But they're barely finding that out. And what sucks is that this coronavirus messed up my movement, because I feel like people were starting to realize who I was, and this coronavirus just brought me down. But
dude, like as soon as you were in, and like I had all these people in my ear, like, oh, you gotta watch this kid. He is really something special. He is, again, I know you don't like the comparisons, but I heard you get compared to all these other notable people, and I was all excited. And then, you know, it happened. You know, nothing happened.
On that though, it's not that I don't like the comparison. I mean, I will, you know, I like, you know, I respected Eddie, you know, I still respect him. And I feel like if I'm being compared to him, I think it's pretty cool. But I just don't like that it's like, oh, let's compare him to the other Mexican, you know what I mean? Like, why can't I be like Shawn Michaels? You know, I love Shawn Michaels, you know, but that's my only point on that. But, you know, I don't hate the comparison at all though. Because like I said, if you compare me to Eddie, hell yeah, man. I love Eddie. I love Mysterio. I love all these Hispanic wrestlers. And I am glad to kind of represent my culture. You know, MLW, I feel like I'm representing greatly by, you know, being like another Latino in there, kind of showing what I can do and then whatnot. But yeah, man, I feel like to add to that, I feel like that's what I want to do at MLW too. Kind of represent my culture there as well, you know, show them that we got Latinos in there, you know, trying to take over not just MLW, but the whole wrestling world.
Yeah, man. Well, Gino, where do you want to send people to find you, follow you, support you, all those great things on social media?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at TLHT__. And repeat that, TLHT, which means the Latin heartthrob. All right. So you can find me at all social media as that. But yeah, man, I appreciate you having me on, and hopefully we can do this again.